When the thermometer outside my home in Calgary drops to minus 35 degrees Celsius and the biting Arctic wind makes the wooden walls of the house creak and groan, I close my eyes and take a deep breath. At that moment, the entire province of Alberta turns into a harsh, white, completely isolated world, where every simple action, whether it is going for groceries or trying to start a frozen car, turns into a full-scale survival operation. My Canadian friends and neighbors enthusiastically prepare their alpine skis, pull out their heavy three-layer down jackets, and mentally brace themselves for 6 long months of unrelenting cold, gray twilight and icy sleet. I, on the other hand, reach for my old worn suitcase on the top shelf of my closet, open it up, and lovingly pack my lightest linen shorts, bright t-shirts, sunglasses, and a simple pair of beach flip-flops. My coworkers often call me crazy or eccentric. They genuinely do not understand why anyone would fly to the other side of the planet, spend so many hours in transit, and trade accustomed Western comforts for the hot tropics. But they simply do not know the magical secret recipe for true human happiness that I discovered for myself many years ago. For me, Canadian winter is not a time for hibernation or gloomy fireside sadness. It is an annual signal, a loud calling to return home, to my second home, which lies 11,000 kilometers away from the Canadian prairies, to the Philippines. Every year in mid-November, I take the same deep emotional breath right before checking in at the airport in Toronto or Vancouver. The long, exhausting flight across the Pacific Ocean with layovers always feels endless. But the moment the plane doors finally open in Manila or Cebu, a thick, gentle wave of that familiar, incomparable tropical air washes over me. It is infused with the scent of salt, ripe coconut, damp palm leaves, smoke from street grills, and something subtly joyful, a festive spirit that floats right in the atmosphere. At that exact second, all the Canadian cold that seeped into my bones during the first frosts instantly evaporates. I kick off my heavy winter boots, slip into sandals, step onto Philippine soil, and feel completely alive, free, and authentic once more. Why the Philippines, of all places? My friends in Canada ask me this question constantly, wondering why I do not just fly to Mexico, the Dominican Republic, or the Caribbean like most Canadians do, especially since those destinations are only a few hours' flight away. I always give them the same response, which they unfortunately cannot fully grasp until they come here themselves. It is not just about the bright sunshine, palm trees, and azure ocean. It is about the people. The famous Filipino hospitality is not merely trained hotel staff politeness or a commercial gimmick for tourists. It is a real, deep, sincere culture of the human heart that permeates the entire society. No place else in the world welcomes me with such incredible warmth and kindness. Walking into a small local sari-sari store along a dusty road is not just a routine purchase of a bottle of water or a pack of biscuits. It is always a chance to exchange genuine smiles, ask about the children's health, catch up on the shopkeeper's family, and hear a loud, heartfelt "Mabuhay" in return. My love for your amazing country began with a simple, selfish desire to escape the bitter, severe cold, but it very quickly grew into a deep, lifelong attachment to your culture and way of life. During the first few weeks of my very first visit, I was surprised to realize that time flows quite differently here on these islands. There is none of that perpetual Western rat race for success, constant stress, hustle, and neurotic rush that burns people out from the inside in North America. In the Philippines, there exists a unique concept known as Filipino time. At first, as someone accustomed to strict Canadian punctuality and schedules, it confused and surprised me a little. But over time, I came to appreciate its profound everyday wisdom. It is time to pause, take a breath, gaze at the boundless ocean, sip fresh juice from a young buko, and truly connect with the people around you in that moment. I remember my very first evening on the island with crystal clarity. I was sitting alone on a deserted shore, watching the fiery sun slowly sink into the calm waters of the Pacific Ocean, painting the entire sky in unbelievable, fantastic shades of purple, gold, and bright pink. Nearby, a large local family was setting up a modest picnic right on the soft sand. They did not know me at all. I was an absolute stranger to them, an unfamiliar foreigner from the far north. But the head of the family simply turned to me, offered a wide smile, gestured warmly for me to sit by their fire, and handed me a large plate of hot food. There was so much natural human warmth and sincerity in that simple gesture, the kind that is so catastrophically missing in modern, cold metropolises. It was then, sitting on the sand and sharing a meal with strangers, that I firmly decided I would return to these islands again and again for as long as my legs could carry me across this earth. Each of my winters here is not just a vacation, it is a complete reset and overhaul of my soul. In Canada, we spend the long winter months locked inside airtight houses with heaters running constantly, staring out at a snow-covered world through fogged or frosted windows. In the Philippines, my whole life immediately moves outdoors into the open air. I wake up at 6 in the morning to the loud crowing of roosters, the rustle of palm leaves, and the distant rumble of passing tricycles. And that morning noise does not bother me in the slightest. It sounds like a beautiful, vibrant symphony of real, bustling, unhidden life. I step out onto the wooden terrace, breathe in the soft, tropical breeze, and happily realize that the next 4 months of my life will be filled with light, genuine laughter, warmth, and incredible culinary discoveries I had been dreaming about all past year while sitting in my distant, snow-covered Calgary. The Philippines gives me something money cannot buy, a feeling of absolute freedom, harmony with the world around me, and true human happiness that fills every passing day. If you were to ask me what I miss the most while sitting at home in Canada on long winter evenings, my answer would be instant and completely unequivocal. I miss Filipino cuisine. When I was first preparing for my very first trip to the islands, a few foreigners I knew, who never really understood the local culture, warned me that Filipino food might seem unusual, overly specific, or too simple. Goodness, how wrong they were. Filipino cuisine is an incredible, deep, and harmonious symphony of sour, sweet, salty, and umami. It is the true soul of a great archipelago, thoughtfully and lovingly laid out on a plate. My very first absolute and passionate culinary love is, without a doubt, sinigang. Oh, that divine, comforting, incredible sour broth. In Calgary, when a harsh blizzard is raging outside, I sometimes try to cook it myself by buying frozen ingredients from Asian supermarkets, but it is only a pale shadow of the original. Real, proper sinigang na baboy with tender pork, or with juicy king prawns, must be tasted only here on Philippine soil. That very first sip of hot, invigorating, tangy broth with the sourness of tamarind, the aroma of fresh radish, tomatoes, and green kangkong leaves can instantly cure any emotional gloom or travel fatigue. For a Canadian used to rather heavy, thick, and simple Western soups, sinigang was a true culinary revelation and the discovery of a whole new world of flavors. I am ready to eat it literally every day, mashing a fresh little chili into patis, fish sauce, and generously mixing that amazing broth into a huge portion of hot, fluffy white rice. Speaking of rice, in North America, we are used to treating rice as a rare dietary grain or a simple side dish, but it was in the Philippines that I truly understood that rice is not just food, rice is life itself. Without rice, not a single meal here is considered complete. And what would a Filipino morning breakfast be without the famous sinigang? Rich garlic fried rice served hot off the pan early in the morning, alongside juicy, slightly sweet tocino or savory tapa, topped with a delicious fried egg. There is no better way to wake up and start a new day. That unique aroma of garlic sautéing in a pan, rising above the plate at the break of dawn, while you sit in a small, cozy carinderia right on the ocean shore, that is a moment of absolute, unclouded happiness. And how could I not mention the great adobo? It is a legendary dish that truly unites all 7,000 plus islands of your country. Every Filipino, every grandmother, and every family in every province has their own closely guarded secret recipe for making this masterpiece. Over the years of my trips, I have tried adobo in bustling Manila, on the white beaches of Boracay, in historic Cebu, and in tiny villages hidden in the jungles of Palawan. In some places, it is served dry with a rich caramelized crust. In others, rich coconut milk is generously added, creating the divine adobo sagata, but it is always, without exception, unbelievably delicious. Meat perfectly infused with the right balance of cane vinegar, soy sauce, garlic, bay leaves, and black peppercorns literally melts in your mouth, leaving a long and pleasant aftertaste. It is true comfort food in the deepest sense of the phrase, food that feels like a warm hug from the inside and gives you a sense of homey comfort. However, if we are talking about a real grand Filipino celebration or family feast, then it is, of course, the crowned king of any table, the legendary lechon. I tried a whole spit-roasted pig for the very first time in my life on the island of Cebu. That impossibly crispy, glass-like golden brown skin, beneath which lies fantastically juicy, tender meat, infused with the aromas of lemongrass, shallots, garlic, and local spices, is the absolute peak of global culinary art. I remember so clearly standing in a long line at a famous Cebu spot, watching with bated breath as the chef, with a swift, artistic stroke of a heavy machete, chopped through the hot roast. One single bite, and you instantly understand why the late Anthony Bourdain once called Filipino lechon the best pork dish on the entire planet. It is not just food, it is a true culinary celebration that you can never forget. And for dessert, my favorite colorful halo halo is always waiting for me. My Canadian friends laugh out loud and think I am crazy when I excitedly tell them that I thoroughly enjoy a dessert where crushed ice is mixed with sweet red beans, preserved corn, jelly, and other unexpected ingredients. They simply cannot understand how ingenious and delicious it is. On a hot tropical afternoon, there is absolutely nothing better in the world than a huge, tall glass packed with shaved ice, sweet condensed milk, pieces of silky leche flan, velvety purple ube, and a big scoop of ube ice cream on top. It is not just a regular sweet treat. It is a real carnival of textures, colors, and flavors in a single glass. Filipinos, more than anyone else in the world, have learned how to turn the simplest, most accessible ingredients into an incredible celebration of life. Every meal on these islands is not a mundane satisfaction of physical hunger. It is an important social ritual, an expression of deep love, care, and respect for a guest. When a Filipino asks you, "Kumain ka na?" Have you eaten yet? They are not just inquiring about your diet. They are saying, "I care about you, you are safe, and you are a welcome guest here." Over the long years of my annual winter travels, I have visited perhaps most of the Philippine archipelago. I have seen with my own eyes the dreamlike white sand beaches and azure waters of Boracay, the perfect geometric forms of the chocolate hills in Bohol, the majestic and mysterious underground rivers of Palawan, and the ancient rice terraces lost high in the misty mountains of Banaue. Every single one of these places is uniquely picturesque and stunningly beautiful in its own way. However, over time, after many years, I came to realize one simple truth. The main and most precious beauty of the Philippines lies not in postcard landscapes or tourist attractions. The greatest treasure of this amazing country is its people, their incredible inner light, and their unique, wise approach to life itself. In Canada, and in Western society in general, we are used to constantly living in the future. We relentlessly plan, save money for retirement, worry about careers, mortgages, bills, and social statuses. We voluntarily drive ourselves into a state of constant inner tension, anxiety, and stress. Whenever I come to the Philippines, I relearn every time how to simply live in the present moment, enjoy the current day, and appreciate what I have right here and right now. Filipinos possess an astonishing, rare gift for preserving genuine joy, optimism, and kindness, despite any life hardships, typhoons, or financial struggles. When I see people here singing karaoke with pure passion right on the street under the open sky, laughing genuinely and loudly, or gathering as a huge family on the doorstep of their modest home after a hard day of work, I begin to clearly understand what true human wealth really is. It is not a massive number in your bank account, nor is it an expensive car parked outside your house. It is the ability to sincerely rejoice in every lived day, the warmth of human connection, the capacity to love, and the readiness to unhesitatingly share your very last piece of bread with whoever is beside you. Family is an absolute sacred concept to every Filipino, and that is something that touches me to the very depths of my soul every single time. Watching several generations, from tiny children to gray-haired great-grandparents, live in harmony, constantly help one another, genuinely care for the elderly, and raise children in an atmosphere of unconditional love, respect, and warmth is a great lesson that the entire modern Western world should learn. In the Philippines, I have never once felt lonely or like an outsider. Even if I travel to a provincial town or village completely by myself, within just a couple of days I find loyal local friends. I get sincerely invited to home fiestas, introduced to countless grandmothers, uncles, and nephews, generously treated to the best homemade food, and respectfully and warmly called kuya or tito. That feeling of belonging to a big human family is indescribable. My Canadian friends back in Calgary often ask me with genuine surprise, "Don't you ever get tired of flying to the exact same country so far away every year? Why not explore other parts of the world?" I always just offer them a warm smile in response. How could anyone ever get tired of a place where you are always awaited with open arms and a kind smile? How could you get tired of the fantastic feeling of the warm, gentle ocean at the break of dawn, the clear sound of a guitar by an evening campfire on the sand, the intoxicating aroma of fresh grilled fish, and the genuine booming laughter of people who have become truly like family to you over these years? When late March or early April inevitably arrives, and it is time to pack my bags and head back to distant Canada, where a drawn-out spring is only beginning to take its first hesitant steps, my heart always tightens a little with sadness. I carefully pack my belongings, making sure to tuck a few boxes of dried sweet mangoes, bottles of natural coconut oil, and small keepsake souvenirs for my Canadian colleagues between my clothes. But the most important and valuable thing I carry back across the ocean is that immense inner warmth and light that will reliably keep my soul warm until next winter. I'm writing these final lines while sitting on a cozy bamboo terrace overlooking the endless blue ocean. On my table stands a cup of freshly brewed, strong Philippine kapeng barako, and colorful tropical butterflies are fluttering around in the sunny air. Tomorrow morning I will happily head to the local bustling market again for fresh, ripe mangoes and spend a long time chatting merrily with a familiar vendor about trivial things and the weather. I know with absolute certainty, next year, when the harsh Canadian winds start blowing cold blizzards outside my window in Alberta once again, I will buy a plane ticket without a second thought. Because for me, the Philippines has long ceased to be just a pretty spot on a geographical map to temporarily escape winter frosts. The Philippines is the one place on earth where my soul and my heart have found their true, forever home. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart, dear Filipinos, for opening your doors and your hearts so generously to guests from all around the world. Maraming salamat po.